Right, we are live doing a live filmmaking Q&A with Momentum Productions. Josh Morgan here. How is everyone doing on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday? Again, I'm trying to put out as much content as possible because apparently my subscribers do not get notified when I put out a new video, which kind of defeats the purpose of having subscribers, don't you think? I mean, it's very odd that subscribers don't get their subscriptions. So whenever I upload a new video, apparently people do not get notified. So that's very bizarre. So I'm trying to upload as much content as possible. That way at least you might see it on your playback page or on your homepage on YouTube. So I mean, at least that's okay. So let's use this time right now. I want to be online for at least an hour answering all of your questions. Please do not be shy. Ask me anything you want, especially when it's, related to filmmaking, all that good stuff. I'll tell you exactly the techniques I've used to get me to where I am today. And then we can talk about some strategies for you to better your filmmaking skills, to better your client acquisition and social media, all that good stuff. Please ask me these questions. I would love to help you out. Even when it's regarding, Steadicam operation, drone operation, what gear you should buy. I'll tell you exactly what you need, especially if you're starting off or even if you're an advanced or professional filmmaker. Okay? First question is coming in. All right, let's see here. What are the most important pieces of kit when it comes to on-the-go filming, such as weddings, music videos, etc.? So, are you also regarding a camera, asking about a camera, or you're asking about specific accessories? So, again, I'm a Sony guy. So if you have a Sony A7 something, A7R, A7R2, A7S, A7S2, that's fine, great. 24-70 Zeiss, mwah, perfect. You might also want a telephoto lens to go along with that. Sony makes a really nice 70-200. So pieces of kit alongside the camera. So for one thing, I strongly recommend that you get is some sort of stabilizer. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of just shoulder rigs. I like gimbals. I like steadiness. I like stability. When you're holding a rig, like a shoulder rig or something like that, there's always some sort of shakiness. And when you're shooting a wedding, you want to be really stable. You want it to be cinematic, high production value. You're going to get that look from using some sort of a gimbal, whether it being a Glidecam or electronic gimbal such as the DJI Ronin. So definitely invest in some sort of gimbal. Glidecam's around $500-600. You can get a way cheaper one for around $200 that's made in China. Just as good in my opinion. Gets you the same kind of shots. But if you want to invest more money and get even more accurate and more stable shots, go for the electronic gimbals. But here's something cool at NAB. Glidecam actually just released a new thing called True Horizon. So basically, it's like 1/3 of a gimbal. So what they did is you get your traditional Steadicam, right? And then there's this little insert, which is a motor that controls your horizon. So you can flip no matter which way you flip the Glidecam, the camera will always be level on its horizon. I think it's a little bit of a silly thing, because if you already have 1/3 of a gimbal, why not just get a gimbal? I mean, that already defeats the purpose of using a Glidecam. You might as well just go for the gimbal, and the price that they're asking for is pretty steep. It's around $799 or $699, one of the two, and it's too much for that price. You can easily buy Giwin Tech, I think that's how you pronounce it. And you can have one of the pistol grip handles, and those cost $650. So, and they work really well. So, I don't know why Glidecam made it so expensive. If it was $100-200, yeah, why not? But for that price of $699 or $799, not down. Alex Peterson is asking, getting media credentials and photographing bigger / more musicians groups. So what do you mean by when you media credentials? Like, do you mean going to school, or what do you mean by media credentials? And then photographing bigger, more musicians groups. So you got to reach out to these people. You can't just expect them to come to you, because especially in Los Angeles, there's a ton of people who say they're filmmakers, and there's just a ton of people to go through. It would be a lot easier and a lot quicker for you to get work if you reach out to these people. So find out who they, what their agency is, and email them. What niches are best to market to? When I first started YouTube, I was marketing towards Glidecam and DSLR sliding users. So that was my niche, and my videos went viral because of that. So honestly, you have to do your research, find out what YouTube is missing, and fill that void. Drone videos are huge now. I mean, they weren't before, but now they are. So you gotta do your research. Don't expect me to do the research for you. I don't mean to be offensive or anything like that, but like you gotta put in some time and some work on your own. Hey Josh, any tips on the best stabilizer to use when shooting yourself? Yeah, the Giuntech Crane, or Crane M. It's a pistol grip stabilizer, electronic. You just shoot yourself, and yeah, it's very, very good. I think it's around 600, 650. Okay, so next one. I have the A7. I lost my kit lens, and I have the 50mm. What gimbal should I get that doesn't have a steep learning curve? What lens should I use with the gimbal? Sean, great question. Give me a budget. What's your budget to invest in a gimbal? And I will tell you extremely. I'll tell you right now, if you want a gimbal that doesn't have a huge learning curve, you're going to be investing a lot of money, because Glidecams have a huge learning curve. So if you need to, I would say, at least have between $500 and $700 to spend on the gimbal, and you will be able to buy a really nice gimbal for that price. $500. $500. You might be able to find a used gimbal for that price, but I don't like buying something used that's that expensive, because you never know what the previous owner did to it. So in my opinion, try to save up at least another $200 or $150. That way you'll afford the Crane gimbals, and those are very good. And then you can actually, hang on a second, we forgot about Canon TV, didn't we? Let me find a good gimbal for you. I'm sure they have something around that price range. Let's see what gimbals they have here. I use the Canon TV Argo gimbal, which is over $1,200, but we can find something for you, I'm sure. They have a new gimbal called the Canon TV Spry. Now this gimbal is for lighter weight cameras. They just announced it at NAB. It should come out, I think, later this month. So check out this link. It's right under $500, and let me know what you think. Sonic Palette, what are your thoughts of the Canon TV Optimus? Why did you go with the Argo? Very good question. Thank you for asking that. I think that's an excellent question. So the Canon TV Optimus, fantastic gimbal. The fact that you can switch from pistol grip to double hands, double hand grip, that's fantastic. But the payload was very light. That was one problem. and 2, it didn't have an HD video transmitter. That was the second problem. So the Argo fixes those problems. But now they came out with a new gimbal called the Canon TD Profit, which is basically a more powerful Optimus. So it actually, they say that it actually supports the same weight as the Argo. However, it is still missing the HD transmitter, and you can't, I think with the pictures that I saw, you can't mount a follow focus on it. On my Argo, you can. So let me check that out. So the Profit. Yeah, with the Profit, you can't mount, you won't be able to mount a follow focus. With the Argo, you can. So that's you know, the Argo is the most professional gimbal you can get. The Argo and the Prodigy. So there you go. There you go. That's more of the professional line. The Optimus, the Profit, again, they're still gimbals. They still get you just as good footage, but they are missing some pretty crucial features, such as the HD transmitter, the follow focus area where you can just put in a 15mm rod and mount a follow focus. And it's also missing, well, that's actually the two biggest things. But they're also releasing a new gimbal support system similar to what the Ronin 2 is getting and what the Mobi already has. And that is the ring mount. So that way I can hold the gimbals and set it down without even using the stand. So I'm waiting for that gimbal, ring mount to come out. Came TV just notified me that they will let me know when it comes out. So it looks great. The ring mount looks fantastic. So I'm excited for that to come out. And I'll be buying it because then I won't need the stand anymore. But then again, the ring mount is very big. You know, it increases the size of your gimbal. So it's not ideal for a lot of situations, but for convenience, in my opinion, I feel like it's a pretty good thing to have. And on the upper tubing on that gimbal, you also have a bunch of mounting areas where you can put a light, a mic, and some other accessories on there. So I feel like that's a really cool thing. But if you're trying to stick out the gimbal out of a car window or something like that, a ring mount will not work. It's just way too big. The handlebars that you already have with the system is good enough for that. All right, so I hope I answered your question. Please do a video on how to use a camera in manual mode. Manual mode. So when you say manual mode, you mean manual focus, manual exposure, all that stuff, right? Yeah, I can do that. I don't mind. Drone Journey says just hold an Inspire 2 and walk around people. It's simple. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that at all. You know, a drone is meant for flying, so stick to it. You know, each tool has its own purpose. Walking around with an Inspire without using a monitor, how are you going to do that? Not the best idea. And you can't put a follow focus. You can't put any camera you want on there. You're very limited if you're trying to use the Inspire as a gimbal. What was your first camera? My first camera was a little Canon camcorder. Little Canon camcorder. That's right. So that's what I was using. It was the Canon Vixia HF something. HF something. That's what it is. Drone Journey is talking smack. He's using an Inspire for a gimbal instead of a professional gimbal with a follow focus. So give him a round of applause because that's not what you use a drone for. All right. So yeah, he's always talking smack. All right. All right, so what else we got here? Mike the cameraman. Again, he's talking, Drone Journey knows nothing about cameras. It's shocking. It's very, very shocking, my friend. Go to film school. Take a class on cameras, because what you are saying is not good advice for these people that are watching this live stream. Not good advice at all. Anyway, enough of that. Mike the cameraman, I got your email, man. I'm checking out your music video. Give me some time for that, and I'll give you my critique on it. So you say you got to use the Glidecam for the first time yesterday. You did a pretty decent job and applied my methods, but I definitely need more practice. Ended up with a seesaw effect at one point. Yeah. So that's the thing with Glidecams. Huge learning curve on the Glidecam. Huge. But you gotta, when I first got my first Steadicam, my first camera stabilizer, I would practice probably 3 hours every day for a good solid month and a half. Every day, 3 hours. And month and a half for 3 hours a day. That's how long it took me to start seeing major results. So, I mean, now we have a bunch of tutorials on YouTube that are going to help you out. So I am sure that you will learn how to use that Glidecam a lot quicker than I did. Well, there's a lot more info about it right now. Protosalas Outdoors. Should you use a flat picture profile to have better post-processing with colors, or should you use a more vivid mode to begin with? So I just released a video on my channel on Monday, or I'm sorry, this morning. Yes, this morning, where I shot in D-Log on the DJI Mavic Pro, and I basically teach you color correction. So in my opinion, yes, always shoot in the flat profile. You will get more data in colors. You can manipulate colors. Vivid already pre-saturates everything, and it just makes it more difficult to manipulate colors in post-production. So yes, shoot in log. Always shoot in log. I think you'll get the best color out of that. Okay. Next question. Let me get a sip of coffee here. What's the best advice? What's the best advice someone has given you for starting out your career? So I had a few mentors in my life, and one of my first mentors was actually one of my first professional clients. I started out working for him for free. I didn't charge him. I was basically his videography or filmmaker intern. And multi-millionaire. And he has his own business, very, very successful. And the most important thing that he has told me is never be afraid to set the bar. And by that is, you have to understand your price. So he was telling me how broke he was back in New York City, where he grew up, and he started up his business consulting people. And he told me how scared he was to charge, like, let's say $500 for an hour. He told me he was terrified. And a mentor of his said, just tell them your price. Tell them $500 an hour and see what happens. So he did that, and the client said, okay, I'll give you $500 for the hour. So the story being is that you should never be afraid to tell people your price. Do not lowball yourself. That's basically the best lesson he has taught me. Do not lowball yourself. Know your worth and state it with confidence. So I feel like that's a very powerful piece of advice right there. Never underestimate yourself. Do not lowball yourself. If you think you are worth $500 an hour, say that and you will get that money. All right? But you have to be worth it. If your work is not worth $500 an hour, you can't be charging that. So keep that in mind. Okay? Next question here. Sorry. What type of format should you use when shooting video with a DSLR RAW? What type of format? Are you talking about like MOV, MP4? Is that what you're talking about? Let me know. SVG Strength. What do you think is the best vlogging lens for the Sony a6000? So a6000, I don't have that camera. I don't know too much about it. I know that it's a cropped sensor. Vlogging lens, I would definitely go with one of the Zeiss. You probably need a wide angle lens, maybe something like a 14. Yeah, something like a 14 millimeter that has autofocus. And I think that will be a pretty good lens for you to start off with. Something that's native to the Sony cameras. Don't get like a Canon 14 millimeter because then it won't do autofocus for you. So, and preferably a zoom lens. So 14 to 70 if something like that exists. I don't think Sony makes a lens like that, but I'm sure they make some sort of wide angle lens. If not a 14, probably a 16. Next question here. Very cool. I'm doing an outdoor channel. I'm trying to be fairly cinematic. I have natural color scheme. I will try that. Thanks. Also, Protosalis, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Check out the video I released this morning. I give you a step-by-step tutorial video on how to color correct and how I make things cinematic. Okay? What else can we do here? Let's see, what else? Nice channel, just checked it out. Thanks, man, I appreciate it. What do you think about shooting overexposed in log and capturing more dynamic range? I think, oh, man, shooting in log, I capture overexposed whites more than I realize, because when I put everything on my computer and I look at it on the big screen, I mean, wow, it's completely different. So I don't recommend shooting overexposed in log, even though I do it sometimes, because sometimes that data cannot be restored. So if you're shooting a white wall or something, make sure you see the details of that white wall. So make sure you see those details. If you don't see those details, like the little cracks, like the little, what's it called? You know, those imperfections that walls have, I would be in the danger zone. I would be a little worried. So make sure you see the details of that white wall or whatever white you're shooting, because overexposure is dangerous, because not all that data can be restored. It's not 110% guaranteed. All right, so be very cautious. I know the Sony cameras have 12 stops at least of dynamic range, so I never ran into that problem, but just to be safe, don't shoot overexposed. Don't. All right. Drone Journey is just talking stuff, man. I don't know. I think we need to take a look at his channel and see how good he really thinks he is. I don't know. Okay. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay. Is there a cheap way to get into videography? I'm 16 and all I have is a Nikon D3300, Sigma 17 to 22.8, nice lens, tripod, and no money. Dude, you got it. What type of videography do you want to get into? You don't need the most expensive camera gear. You got to work your way up. So it starts from in here. Okay? But start off with what you have, do a lot of free gigs, and eventually you're going to get paid for it. My advice to you, since you're 16, you're young, you got a lot of life ahead of you, start an internship somewhere that involves that kind of work. Internships are the #1 thing that you should do, especially at your age. All right? When I record with my GoPro, do you think I should use the flat profile or color correction later and just GoPro color? Again, GoPro, I don't have one, but I've worked with GoPro, and again, shooting flat profile. Even though the dynamic range on those cameras aren't that great, you can still do something with the colors. It's always better to have more option than less options, you know? When shooting, do you ever use a color palette or story? So I don't have a color palette. Color palette, I mean, do you mean the color palette that you use to correctly white balance and to set color? I think that's what you mean, but no, I don't use one. Next one. I think you already asked that question before in another live stream. Thoughts between the Ursa Mini Pro versus the C300 Mark II for weddings. I really don't like Blackmagic. I don't know why people like Blackmagic so much. I worked with the Blackmagic cinema camera in 2013, and it was the most difficult camera to work with. Cameras are not supposed to be touch screen. You're supposed to have physical buttons. You're supposed to have an external battery. I mean, it was just such a nightmare, and the battery life was so bad on that camera. It was just a big wreck. I don't like Blackmagic. Look at the reviews for the Ursa Mini. Not good reviews at all. And the picture, people are complaining about color banding. They're complaining about aliasing. I don't know. I think the wrapper looks good, but the internals are not that great. It's like a bag of chips, right? It looks delicious on the outside, then you open it and half the bag is empty. Well, that's what I feel like the Ursa Mini is. I love the way it looks. It looks fantastic, but the image quality is just, it's not there for that price. For that price, you can get a better camera like the Sony Alpha series. I think Sony Alphas shoot a lot better than Blackmagic. I'm never gonna have a Blackmagic camera. I really don't like them. SVG Strength. Kick drone journey off, man. No, it's okay. SVG Strength. Let me tell you something, bro. You always gotta, let them talk smack. I've had so many people talk smack. I mean, it's all good. It's all good. He's on here for a reason. He's trying to learn. So obviously he doesn't know everything. So you have to you have to know that. So it's all good. Let him talk smack. It's all fine. It's all good. But never take it personally. If I were to take it personally, I would have obviously gotten very mad and caused a whole fit, but be at peace. Tyler Randall is the Panasonic, and again, just to let you know, what I say is the truth, and you could look at my clients that I've worked with, and you can look at my projects, and you tell me if it's good or bad, all right? Look at my client list. Go to my website, capturethemomentum.com, click on the About link, click on my client list, and look at my past clients. And you will see who I've worked with, and you tell me if that's amateur or if that's professional. That's all I gotta say. Okay, here we go. Enough about that. Is the Panasonic G85 a good starter camera? I am 16 years old. I don't know the Panasonic G85. So let me take a quick look. Panasonic G85. I don't know a lot of these cameras because there's only specific ones I focus on. I'm just looking at the specs here. Crop sensor. It looks decent. It's $1,000 camera though. It's pretty expensive. So if I were you, I would probably invest those $1,000 into something like a Sony A6300, A6500. Pay a little bit more, get a better camera. Low light, this camera doesn't do well. Panasonic is not good for low light. Micro Four Thirds is not my favorite sensor. The reason why I have a GH4 is because it was one of the first cameras that had 4K internal recording. And it was just a camera new, something that no other camera had. So that's why I invested my money in it. And now I just use it as like a C camera or like a vlog camera. It does a very nice job, and I think I'm gonna keep it. I don't think I'm gonna sell it. It's a great camera to have. So for that price, I would want to invest. Oh, and it comes with the lens, 12 to 60 millimeter from B&H. Yeah, honestly, if anything, I would want a camera that does good in low light, especially if I were a beginner, because you probably don't have a whole big lighting setup. So get a camera that can do well in low light, and try to invest money in a Sony, because they know low light better than any other company. Next question. I'm 13. The only camera I have besides my GoPro is a Canon Powershot SX530. Could I use that? I don't know. I used to have a Powershot, but not a big fan of point and shoot cameras for videography. But listen, use it. This is just I'm a little cynical now of little Powershot cameras, but you can still use it. I started off on a little camcorder. If I did that, you can use your Powershot to make a masterpiece as well. So don't listen to me when I say you can't do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Work your way up. Do free gigs. Doesn't matter what equipment you use, as long as the outcome is great. As long as it comes out well. That's all that matters. Daniel Charlton says the G85 is really amazing. Yes, well, Panasonic knows picture quality. The only issue I have is that small sensor size with poor low light. That's my only issue. But yes, Panasonic does a great job with picture. How would I price my music videos? I don't know, man. I can't tell you how you would price your music videos. What goes into production? What goes into production? What equipment will you be using? Do you need a team? How much time will you be putting in? I can't tell you. You have to give me all of those details for me to give you an accurate answer. What do you think if I use GoPros on set for time-lapse or cool different? Yeah, I mean, you could definitely use GoPros to get like nice B-roll shots. I'm not sure about their time-lapse function. I'm not too sure about time-lapse on GoPro. I don't own one. I've worked with them, but I don't own one, so I can't tell you for a fact. GoPros do well. They do well. I mean, they used GoPros in Lord of the Rings. So, yeah, you can definitely get some good results out of that. Okay. Alright, so what's the next one? Okay, you said to invest in a low light camera, correct? How about the Sony a6300? Beautiful camera. It's also cropped sensor, but it's bigger than the Micro Four Thirds. Sony is the right way to go, in my opinion. I absolutely love Sony. They're rocking it, they're killing it, and they're making unbelievable equipment. So yes, go for the a6300. I think that's a phenomenal camera to start off with, especially. CTF, bye. Great live stream, by the way. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Could you talk about how you got started in filmmaking as an education practice? I'm 18 and really stuck as to where I should start. Any help would be appreciated. Love the channel, bro. Film guy 125712. Awesome, man. So listen, I took film courses in college. Courses. I didn't go to film school. I took courses. I didn't learn much, to be honest. I really didn't learn much, because all they basically teach you in film courses and in film school is what you can and can't do. And I feel like that's a really big constrictor in your creative mind. So in my opinion, do all the research you can on YouTube, on film forums, on Facebook. Connect with as many people as you can. Be social. Go to events. Go to trade shows and just meet people. That's the best way you can learn. And then when you meet these people, ask them if they need a personal assistant. Do you need an assistant camera? Experience is the best teacher. It really is. And you will learn that. Okay? So I promise you that's what's happening. And you don't need film school to be a filmmaker. Don't give up. Keep going. Just be very social and meet different people. Magic Bullet Looks, does that have Colorista? Yes, it does. I believe so. It does. Magic Bullet Looks is probably phenomenal. Not color. It doesn't do color correction. It does looks. But I think it comes with Colorista 4, if I'm not mistaken. Check out redgiant.com. I just released a video using Colorista 4, so check it out. I released it, I think, today or yesterday. I released it yesterday, so check it out. Sean K, I have an A7 and love it, but do you think I should move up to the A7 II or A7S for better quality, or just invest in a better lens and keep my A7? Remember, all I have is a 50mm for my... So yeah, definitely keep the A7 and invest in new glass. Definitely. Don't worry about a new camera. You already have a great camera. Stick with it and just invest in new glass, because glass is really what matters here. The best glass will make your images pop like no other. So yeah, focus on glass, make some more money, then eventually upgrade the camera body. But I think glass is more important than the body at this point, at this moment. Alvin Wolf, thanks man, I appreciate it. Sean K, what lens would you get as... Oh, what lens would you get for the A7? So, I like Zeiss. I like the G lenses, the Sony G lenses. 24-70 is the mid-range zoom lens. I think that's a great one for you to start off with. So check it out, the 24-70 Zeiss. You can get that lens, I think, used for under $1,000. So, and it gets you great images. Absolutely love it. Any recommendation on Micro Four Thirds S lenses? I really dropped off of the Panasonic zone there, so I can't really recommend any lens. I'm being honest with you. I'm not following Panasonic right now. I'm all about Sony, so and slightly Canon. So I don't know much about Panasonic. I know that they have some phenomenal lenses, but I'm not up to date with them yet. If you are doing some research on lenses, send me a link to them. I'll read the specs on the lenses, and I will tell you if it's a good buy or not. So just email me, info@capturethemomentum.com. Alex Peterson, favorite lens to use for filming and photo? Zeiss 24-70. Daniel Charlton, I use the Lumix G80. Any good lenses you would recommend for that? So I think I just answered that. I don't follow Panasonic too well, so I can't recommend any good lenses. Film Guy 125712, thanks for the help, man. Great stream. By the way, are you a full-time filmmaker, if you don't mind me asking? Yes, full-time filmmaker. Boom, full-time filmmaker. I am. I live and breathe film. I have a shoot tomorrow all day. Filming at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, California. And then I have a cooking video that I'm shooting tomorrow after that. So that'll be fun. I like cooking. I love food. So if I get to watch it being made and then eat it afterwards, that's a really good perk of being a filmmaker. So here's the thing. A lot of people have been asking me this question. Is there money in filmmaking? Is there money in filmmaking? Well, here's where you got to plan out your strategy. You got to decide what kind of filmmaker you want to be. You want to be a filmmaker that wants to make short films, or do you want to be a filmmaker who works one-on-one with clients? I'll tell you right now, in the beginning especially, if you're a filmmaker who makes short films, there's no money in that. There is nothing. Zero money in short films. Zero. Yes, you can get invited to go to some film festivals, but there's no money in making short films, which is why I didn't start off by making short films. I went exactly to where the money is, and that is one-on-one with clients, professional trainers, shooting interviews for Xerox, like all these things. That's where the money is. Making short films will not get you money. It will get you, possibly could get you noticed, and then years and years will go by, and then you might get picked up, but it's not guaranteed. When you're working one-on-one with clients, you are guaranteed payment. That's the difference between those two different types of filmmakers. One guarantees pay, one doesn't. Okay, Piers McGinley, sorry if I mispronounced that name. Do I go with Tamron or name brand lenses for Canon? So I like to stick with native lenses just because they communicate better with the camera body. But if Tamron has a lens that Canon doesn't, such as, I don't know what lenses they may have or may not have, but if they have a specific focal length you're looking for and Canon doesn't have it, then yes, go for it and get a Metabones adapter. Not a Metabones, excuse me. They make Tamron makes lenses for Canon, so see how that works. All right, let me know. Alex Peterson, if I am planning on raising my prices for a lot of my projects, how would you recommend telling my clients that? Would informing them in an invoice, just sending an email? So it looks to me like you would be raising your prices. So, okay, so it looks to me like you're on a retainer with these guys, like you're asking for a monthly rate. Because if you're working by project, then your clients won't mind if you raise your prices. I mean, you have to tell them obviously up front, you know, my prices went up either because of new equipment you got or you have higher expenses. So yeah, especially if you're on retainer with these clients, you have to let them know, hey, I can't accept $1,000 a month anymore. I have new expenses. I'm gonna have to raise it to $1,250 a month. So you have to tell them in advance. Be casual about it. Email is fine. Don't surprise them with an invoice. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that. Clients do not like it when they're surprised with the invoice like that. Tell them in advance before the shoot. Any tips on editing together a show reel of previous footage? Length of clips, smooth edits, or transitions? So Daniel Charlton, very good question. First off, my thing about creating a demo reel is that obviously you want your best shots, no shaky, weird, erratic movements in your shots. You want very nice footage. Music has a huge role in that. It has a huge role in that. Music is your blueprint to your video because it gives you the length of time you need per each clip, when the clips should change. It all depends. I can't give you a specific blueprint for making a demo reel because you have to look at the shot. Is the shot dynamic? Is it static? You know, will it bore people? Create a rough cut, show it to your friends or family, and ask them what they think. And they're going to give you their honest opinion, I hope. So and eventually after creating different versions of your demo reel, and asking people to watch it and criticize it, you're going to get an idea of what people are looking for when watching a demo reel. My first demo reel I made was bad. It really sucked. And I had a client tell me that straight up. He told me, dude, your demo reel is not that good. Yeah, it stung a little bit, but I grew from that. And now my editing is a lot better than what it used to be. I've been doing lots of real estate videos, pictures for the same place, and I'm paid per house. Okay. So yeah, don't surprise them with the invoice. Don't ask them, tell them in advance that your expenses went up. You have to give them a legitimate reason. Don't just be like, hey, I gotta raise the price. No, just, tell them my expenses went up. I gotta increase my prices to this amount. So tell them that. Question about wheel destabilizers. Should I have the same weight on the bottom as the top? No, that's not true. Watch my balancing videos on Steadicams, and you will know exactly how to properly balance a Steadicam. Don't forget that the length of the boom pole is a big portion of how it can be steadied, or balanced, excuse me. So remember that. I need another cup of coffee, guys. I woke up early today. Excuse me. Any more questions? Did I seriously answer everyone's question? They were coming in fast, too. Wow, very nice. Very happy about that. Wow. What was that? Probably 30 questions here that I answered. Any more questions? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I have nothing to hide from you guys. Here we go. Another one. Do you have any tips on creating business cards? For example, what to put on it, size and design, UTC, I'm rebranding as a more modern videographer. Daniel Charlton, you are just loaded with amazing questions. So yes, my company, Momentum Productions, used to be called JN Media. So I went through the same exact thing that you're going through now. I had to do a whole thing with rebranding, getting new business cards. What I like to see, I like double-sided business cards. You know, on the front, it should be who you are, what you do, website, what's it called? Portfolio link, places where they can find your social media, and on the back, just your logo. I think that's pretty good. So yeah, I think double-sided business cards are great. John Lynch, did I miss much of the stream? Always wondered, you seem like a pretty big dude. How do you balance your work and presumably gym? Dude, I go to a 24-hour... I go to two different gyms. I have a family gym that I go to that I've been going to for like almost 10 years. And then I have 24-hour fitness, which works around my schedule because sometimes I can't go to the gym until like midnight. So if you have a 24-hour gym, you shouldn't have an excuse why you shouldn't make it. So even if I work 18-hour days, I'm still going to go to the gym. I'm going to find a way to go to the gym. It's just, it became an addiction. It's like a, you know, thing I do. It relieves a lot of stress as well. So, yeah. What do you think about Nikon D3300 for videography? Again, I don't follow Nikon. I don't know. Send me the specs. Any tips of ways of contacting clients? Find out who you want to work with and go to their YouTube channel, go to their Facebook page, wherever they have an email, and just say, hey, my name is, state your name, where you're located, and tell them how interested you are in working with them. And tell them, what's really important though is how you end the email. Because how you end the email will guarantee you a response. And this is how I end my emails. I say, I'm looking forward to your response. You say that and it triggers them in their head. It's like, oh, I have to respond to him. So you're basically 95% of the time guaranteed a response by ending the email with, I'm looking forward to your response. You're not giving them an option to say, or you're not giving them an option to ignore you. You're making them think about responding to you. And they most likely will. Laugh out loud. This is a lame question, but I'm just curious. Do you stay up pretty late doing work on a day-to-day basis? Yes, I stay up until 3 in the morning editing sometimes. 3 or 4 in the morning. Sometimes I stay up and watch the sunrise. So yeah, it all depends on the mood I'm in. Sean K. M. What is your #1 shooting editing technique to really wow customers with a promo? Again, music is so important. I don't know if you guys hear the gardeners. Let me know if they're too loud. But music is so important. Music guides me to how I should properly edit my videos. So that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Follow music and you are guaranteed to get a good edit. And it has to be good music too. It can't be anything boring or slow. Is it too loud? Is the gardener too loud? Let me know. Yeah, wow, we're going on 48 minutes already. It's great. Let me see here. I found you through Instagram. Do you have any tips on growing your Insta? Do you have any tips on growing my Insta? Yeah, browsing through other people with similar interests, liking their photos, commenting. The more interactive you are on Instagram, the more follows and likes you're going to get. Now, there's a bunch of people think that simply follow for follow will work, but it's not true. Let me close this window. Sorry. Follow for follow is good in the beginning, but then eventually you're going to lose those followers. They like you only in the beginning. But here's the thing. How'd you find me on Kick? I'm not on Kick. So here's the thing. Liking a post, being genuine about someone's work is going to get you their attention. So I think that's the best advice I can give you. Don't do the like for like stuff. It never follows through. I know a lot of people get 100,000 followers, but how many of those followers are actually interactive with the person they follow? You have to look at that. Engagement is more important than how many followers you have. What is the point of having 2 million followers if only 10,000 of them are engaged with you? There's no point. Followers is just a number. You got to look at your engagement. Engagement has to be very high. Otherwise, there's no point. No point. Engagement is the most important thing you can have. Which is why when I look at other YouTube channels who have 200,000 subscribers, and then I look at the like button and it's only 100 likes, that just tells me not enough people are getting engaged. And if you look at my videos, I have more likes to view ratio than a lot of other YouTube channels, and that just tells me that I'm engaging my audience a lot better, and that makes me feel good, and that's what my goal is. I do want 100,000 subscribers more than anybody right now. I'm working my butt off to get to that point, but I also have to understand that it's important to engage my viewers. I can't just expect them to watch my videos. I want them to comment, I want them to share, and I want them to like the videos that I create. I don't just want them to watch it. Engagement is more important than anything. Navarro Media, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Craigslist is where I'm planning to start getting clients. Weddings, events. Do you think that's a decent way? Thanks again. Craigslist is an excellent way. Craigslist is excellent. Why not? It's free marketing for you. You should definitely be on Craigslist. Why not? Halvin Wolf, I admire your dedication to this channel. Thank you, brother. Halvin Wolf has been here for a while. He's been a loyal subscriber. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Any more questions? Any more questions? Yeah. So, wow, I answered. Guys, I loved the questions today. They just flew in really fast, at least 30, 40 questions, I think. Fantastic. You guys should be very proud of yourself. Ask me some more questions, guys. Keep asking. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I know a lot of people have been asking me lately about color correction, so I released a color correction video yesterday. So yeah, watch it. I released it yesterday. Okay. Favorite film and why? Very good question, Daniel. My favorite film would be The Matrix. 1999. That film just gave me a different dimension of thought. Not only the way it was shot, which The Matrix was the first of its kind. There was no other kind of movie with its kind of special effects. And still up to date, till 2017, those special effects in The Matrix stand up to today's special effects. A movie that old, a movie almost 20 years old, still standing up to today's visual effects. No other movie in the history of mankind has done that. And The Matrix, I mean, there's still movies and cartoons and shows still referencing to The Matrix today. Why do you think they do that? Because The Matrix was just the first of its kind. No other movie was like The Matrix. So that, I have to say, is my favorite film and why. incredible, absolutely incredible. Daniel Charlton, is there anyone you aspire to work with? Mine is Scorsese. Very nice. So you want to work with Mr. Scorsese? Nice. I want to work with Ridley Scott. I want to work with John Turteltaub. I want to work with Philip Bloom. Those are the people who I want to work with. John Turteltaub, if you guys don't know who he is, he made the National Treasure movies with Nicolas Cage. I love those movies so much. They're so cool. But yeah. Have you ever done a hyper zoom effect? Ooh, I like hyper zooms. No, I've never done it. I need to actually watch a few tutorial videos on that. Hyper zoom is basically like kind of like a time lapse, but also a zoom effect, and it's constantly moving. I saw a few videos of people doing that, and it's so cool. But you have to be very patient because it is a time lapse. It is a form of a time lapse. So it takes a lot of time to do a hyper zoom lapse. So yeah. I'd like to one day work with Josh from Momentum Productions. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, guys, any more questions, let me know. Feel free. Please, if you can, like, I'm trying to get this channel up to 100,000. If you could please share this channel, share this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm really trying here, guys. The more subscribers I get, the more free advice I can give. And I don't want to charge. I only want to review and give advice and create tutorial videos and short little things that can help you out as filmmakers. So please, if you have a minute or two, share this with your friends, get them to subscribe, and I would really appreciate that. That would be right here from the heart. And we'll do something fun for the 100,000 subscribers. Right now we're at 13,000 something. 13,615. So please, if you can. Alright, some more questions are coming in. Let's see. How did you get so knowledgeable? Did you go to film school? I took 3 film courses, but that's not what made me so knowledgeable. The film courses, what they did, they allowed me to work in a team and learn how to work in a team, which was fantastic. But the knowledge I gained, all of it was from the internet. 90% of which came from YouTube. So YouTube, my friend, YouTube, that's the best film school. Keep that in mind. There's even this lady who learned how to build a house, who never touched anything like planks of wood before in her life until she watched YouTube tutorial videos. Then she built a huge house for her and her family. Like, YouTube is unreal. You could learn so much from YouTube, it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's all you need. All you need is an internet connection. Boom. Good monitor to use with the Canon TV Argo. So Canon TV has a bunch of different monitors that they sell, which I think are pretty good. So I can tell you some right now. You can get the Canon MT-01, I believe it's called, $218. They're slim monitors. In my opinion, I don't need a monitor because it weighs down the whole system, and honestly, I just focus on the display off the camera. I have a monitor. It's a little too thick. It's an older monitor, but I don't really use it. So Canon TV, man, they're a good website to check out. You guys want to come with me to make some coffee? My throat's getting pretty dry here. I need another cup of coffee. So let's go ahead. Let's go for a walk. I got some clothes back there, huh? Let's go for a walk, guys. And so, man, life is good, guys. Life is what you make it. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna put you right here for a sec while I fill up some coffee. I'm using Look what I'm using here. This is a Nescafe. This thing is a lifesaver. So guys, continue posting your questions. I'm not going to see them for a few minutes until I make this coffee. Keep posting. Sorry, it's kind of a boring angle, I know, but I'm just filling up some coffee. Give me a second here. It's crazy. Talking for an hour straight, I didn't realize how dry my throat would be. So, this thing, coffee, is going to be your best friend, especially if you're working up late. You know, coffee is, you know, it's incredible. So I think we had a question come in. This is a random question, but will you ever cut your hair? I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna keep growing it, just see what happens. I grew up with short hair all the time, so I want to change it up, you know, spice it up a bit. Here we go, filling up, filling up, filling up. Got some organic milk here from this cow, right? Alright, so what else? Another piece of advice I think is good is learning how to save money. Because the last tax season just finished, and tax season was the worst season for work. I did not get too much work, I'm being honest with you. Tax season is awful. So April through about June is tough. Very, very tough. That's when people have the least amount of money. So you have to know how to save your money so that way when the rainy day season comes, such as tax season, you will have that money to, you know, save yourself from going broke. So now it's starting to pick up again. Tax season is officially finished. So as soon as May comes to an end, I'll be very, very busy again. So, and I'm gonna knock on wood for that too. But I know it's happened last year, it's happening again this year, and then it picks back up. But I do have, you know, you gotta be prepared for that, you know? You gotta be prepared. That's all good. That's all good, you guys. As long as you're prepared, that's all that matters. All right, back here on the desk. Man. All right, what other questions do we have coming in here? Wow, we're going over an hour now. It's all right. We'll go until I finish my coffee. How's that sound? All right. Do you think a cheap Steadicam can be useful? Yeah, I have 3 of them. Very useful. And they're cheap. Third of the price of a Glidecam. The DJI Zenmuse X5, in my opinion, was terrible. Did you like it and did you use it? I used it. I did not like it because the compression was just as bad as the X3. X5R is when you're going to start seeing some results. But yeah. It's just a drone camera. That's it. You can't use it for anything else. But Panasonic made their sensors, so I mean, DJI is legit. They're not making little toys anymore. The Phantoms were cool, and then they started using RX100 sensors in the Phantom. I mean, wow, that's impressive. So the Phantom is no longer a toy either. Any more questions, guys? Is that about it? Well, good, guys. You know what? I have another video I gotta edit. Uh-oh. We're losing service here. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm getting a very bad connection warning here. It's odd. Anyway, here we go. When inspiration is down, when you feel creativity sapped, what do you do? How do you stay fresh? Good question. What I do, my secret is to have a whiteboard list of filled with ideas. So if I'm literally like in the dumps, I just look at my whiteboard and I trigger some more ideas that will help me out. Boom. And that's what it is. Always have a journal or some sort of whiteboard or something with a ton of ideas. That way, if something unfortunate happens, you will have a backup. Always keep a journal or some sort of list that keeps you going. Okay? That's very, very important. I have a full day of shooting tomorrow. I got shooting at Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, California, where Arnold Schwarzenegger used to train, and Lou Ferrigno and Peter Dinklage trains there. I saw him a couple months ago. You think I could get away with 2 Zoom H1s, a D3300, and a monopod to film my first events? Yeah, why not? Don't forget, I filmed my first event with a little Canon Vixia. So, definitely can. Do I recommend a ND filter for the Mavic Pro? Yes. I don't have any because I don't, I do need to get some. There's no excuse why I don't have any, but definitely get an ND filter because just increasing your shutter speed will make some objects not come out the way they're supposed to. So an ND filter is going to really help out with keeping overexposed colors properly exposed. Definitely consider that. Daniel Charlton, worst shoot you've been on? Good question. This was a wedding I shot years ago, I think in 2012 or in 2013. I show up to the wedding and I asked the bride to be there an hour early so I can get some cool B-roll shots of her, getting dressed and getting ready and along with the groom. They show up 2 hours late. And I didn't have a contract at the time. I was starting off. So they blamed me for not getting the right shots, and that was just a nightmare. My contract clearly states now that if the client does not assist the videographer or filmmaker properly, then they cannot ask for a refund or they cannot give me any sass for it. So you have to be protected, which is why the contract is very, very important. All right? Keep that in mind. Yeah, I've had some clients that just completely flipped out on me, even though it wasn't my fault. And it was just a nightmare. And that's why you gotta have a contract, guys. You really do. As much as I don't like having a contract, you really do need one. The only reason why I don't like having a contract is like, it takes out the closeness you can get between you and your client, like a relationship. You want to build a relationship with clients. And then it's like, okay, cool, yeah, let's set this date. And then you have to say, okay, now I have to make you sign this form. It breaks that bond a little bit, but you got to protect yourself. Oh, you know where I could find an example of a contract? Yeah, you can. I made a tutorial on a contract. Go to my YouTube channel, type in how much should you charge, just how much should you charge. And in that video I show you how much you should charge, and which is actually a little bit outdated. I need to update that. And I also show you the contract I used, so you can check it out on my YouTube channel. Any tips on capturing really cool creative B-roll footage that doesn't look amateur or too general? Like I said, close-ups are very important, but not just like straight up close-ups. You gotta frame the shot like using those rule of thirds. That's a tutorial video that I'm next working on. Soon I'll be working on it, and that's the rule of thirds. When you're doing B-roll, rule of thirds are important because they help you stylize your shot. Oh, very good question we have coming in now. How do you know when your work is done as far as editing and when to walk away? Man, that is good. That has to involve philosophy in there too. I'll tell you that right now. I'll be honest, I'm never happy with my work. Or I should say, I'm never 100% satisfied. You are going to be your worst critic. So learn to walk away when your client is happy. It's not about you, it's about your client. So if you submit your work and your client says this was such a fantastic video, but then you play it back and you find something that you didn't like, that's when you gotta walk away. Make sure the client is happy and then just be like, oh, take a deep breath and just say, you know what, I gotta walk away from this because it's just gonna drive me mad. And then try to avoid that little thing that bothered you in your next shoot. That's when you know when to walk away. Walk away when your client is happy. Boom. I learned that. It took me a few years to overcome that fear of self-perfection, which is very difficult. Vex Vegas, hey Josh, got nothing for today, just wanted to stop by and give support. Stay awesome, bro. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your support, man. I really appreciate the super chats too, guys. I've been getting super chats lately. Thank you so much for your donations. I'm putting them to good use. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to go to Vegas with that money. I'm definitely investing in more equipment and equipment specifically for reviews. Not all the equipment I get is fully paid for. You know, I have to spend money out of my own account to buy it. So keep that in mind. Your donations help. If you can donate $1 here or there, that would be great. So all that money is going towards the film equipment that I review. What are your creative morals? What are some things you won't do or film? Very good question. What are some things I will not do or film? Something that I don't believe in. I used to have a client, I won't tell you who she is. She was big client. And all she would really do is shoot, you know, like fashion videos and makeup tutorials. And I wasn't a big fan. I was not a big fan of that stuff. It just really drained me. And I've done it for a few clients, a few big clients that wanted fashion videos and makeup tutorials. It wasn't me. So I don't think I'll be shooting those types of videos anymore. I want there to be some creative aspect to it. If there's a creative aspect to fashion videos and makeup tutorials, yeah, I'll do it. But simply setting up a camera on a tripod and filming somebody walking down a runway or putting on makeup, it's not right. There has to be some creative aspect to it. So that's something I won't do. I will not just set up a tripod and film some person putting on makeup or walking down a runway. There has to be something, there has to be some sort of story, some sort of dynamic behind it. Halvin Wolf, thanks man, I appreciate your $1 donation, bro. Really kind of you, thank you. Jack Vasca, wow, you are still going. Yeah, dude. I'm still going. I got another 30 minutes left. Why not, right? When filming with the Glidecam, the wind affects the movement. How can you avoid this? Again, if you watch some of my previous tutorial videos, the best thing you can do is control the gimbal with your opposite, your non-dominant hand. You know, tap, 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 tap. On an extremely windy day, there's nothing you can do. There really isn't. That's why I have an electronic gimbal, because that will just calculate how much force is coming through, and it will automatically level the horizon for me. So on a super windy day, there's not much you can do, which is why Glidecam came out with True Horizon, which is a robotic arm that controls the horizon level of the camera. So no matter what angle you have the Glidecam at, the camera will always be leveled. Here's my last question. How much you lift, dude? I don't know. I just pick up random weight. How much do I lift? It's different each week. I just do it for the Glidecam, man. That's all I do it for. And I do it for stress relief. But yeah. Yeah, thank you guys for the super chats. I really appreciate it. Damn, Mike the cameraman. His top was a 305 bench. That's massive. Good work, man. Good work. 305 for a bench. It's fantastic. Very nice. Could you just imagine like how strong the human body can be? 305 pounds on the chest. You're bench pressing 305 pounds. I don't think people realize how much weight is until they actually see something that's literally 305 pounds. Like, yeah, weights are weights, but weights are small. They're not that big. But if you look at something that actually weighs that much, you're like, damn, I can lift that? That's crazy. It just gives you a different perspective on things. It's kind of funny. Wait, one more question. What do you feel is missing in filmmaking today? Stories. Stories. Storytelling is a big thing that's not happening lately. And when I'm, movies today, like, it's all about the explosions and the special effects. Very little story now. Very little thinking. You want the audience to think when you watch your movie. You don't want them to just assume everything, and you don't want your movie to be predictable. So you gotta learn how to tell a story. And I feel like a lot of movies today are missing that. That's like the heart of a film. Did you always want to make films? If not, how did you find out what is right for you? I always liked being an actor and being involved in media. I found out what was right for me after joining, this is going to sound a little bit cocky, but I joined a gym and I met this lady. She was 34, 35 at the time. 3 kids, and she was a professional competitor for physique. And I saw the way that she worked out, and I thought it was extremely impressive. So I asked her if I could just have a shoot with her, if I could just shoot her training. She said, yeah. So I started shooting her training, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the whole process of filming it, and then editing it, and then uploading it. And it was just a lot of fun. So I think that was the first sign that I knew that I wanted to do one-on-one filmmaking with clients instead of working in some big production, because I like being responsible for the camera. I like being responsible for the editing and for the you know, for a lot of the creative process. It just gives me control over how I envision things and how I want things to come out. So it gives me the power to be an individual. And I feel like working in such a large crew, like on most film sets, you get that power taken away from you. You get your creativity taken away from you because you will always have someone to answer to. While as, you know, you're working with somebody, you have one-on-one communication with them, you get your ideas heard. And I think that's very important. Daniel Charlton, got to head off. Thanks for all the advice. I'll be back for more. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. When filming with the Glidecam, okay, I already answered that question. Alvin Wolf, you're a great storyteller. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Why do you seem so sad? I'm not. I'm just tired. I've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes straight already, so my voice is getting raspy, and no, I'm not sad. My energy's a little bit low. I'm on my second cup of coffee today. But no, I'm not sad. But thank you for... I'm sorry if I gave off that impression. But no, I'm not sad. I'm actually pretty happy. Just my voice. Alright guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here before my voice just stops working. But if you have any questions for future videos, please comment in the comment section below. I'll be sure to answer it. Again, donations help. If you can give a donation, at least please just like share this video, like it, ask your friends to subscribe to this channel. The more subscribers I get, the better it's going to be in the long run, because the more advice I can give out and share with you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace.